Hello, my name is David Webb, and this is a video for Dweebovision. I am a Scrabble grandmaster, and in this video I am going to play Scrabble while providing in-game commentary on my moves. Hopefully this will help to improve your game, and be fun to watch. The game has just started, so let's join the action. My opponent opens with Chi, and I have an X. With any rack, the first thing to do is look for a bingo, but I can see that there isn't one with these letters, and therefore what I'm looking to do is to score well and leave a reasonable rack to draw to for next turn. Duplicate ends aren't good, so one possibility would be Knox. I don't like keeping 3 vowels out of 4 tiles, and I don't like keeping the U. Well, I think the Xenon's probably better. Scores 22 points. Well, Knox was clearly not good because of NI, but it would play underneath QI. But is there anything better? I do have the U to go underneath the Q, but I can't play the X, and I would like to play the X. Yeah, I don't think that's too bad a move. Okay, this is one of the hazards of retaining a poor tile like the U, is that you run the risk of drawing another one. And 2 U's is quite problematic. And the main problem with 2 U's is that although it's fairly straightforward to play off 1 U, it's difficult to play off both of them. And therefore, the problem drags on into a third rack. I can play the U underneath the Q to make something like Qua, QUA or QUAI. UTU is a word which does use up both U's, but I can't see an obvious place to play it to good effect. It will go above the above Xenon, but it doesn't score a great deal. I'm wondering if I can place the U under the second N of Xenon and have a 4-letter word which reaches to the triple word square at H15. Actually, I wouldn't need to begin with the U. I could have A2, AITU, for 18 points. Yes, that's not bad. The leave of ERU isn't terrible. And it takes out a hotspot, which my opponent has in fact used. So we'll have to find something else. And his play has also blocked the spot where I had in mind for UTU. There's nothing through the L in terms of 8-letter bingos. I'm looking at the column 11 to see if I can play a word which hits both double word squares in that column. But I can't see one. So let's have a look at QUAI. Well, what about uteri across here? Again, I'm giving my opponent the triple word, or first shot at the triple word square, this time at H1. Uteri scores 19 points, which isn't too bad, but the leave of AU is not good at all. This is a tricky rack. Well, I can't see anything better. I'm just wondering if there's anything down from the W of dowel. Well, there's waiter, but certainly retaining 2 U's is never going to be the best play. Or exceptionally rarely, I should say. Well, at least if my opponent does use the triple word square at H1, the board will be wide open, which is okay, and I'm not too far behind at this point. Right, and that's the problem with retaining 2 vowels, is that I now have a very vowel-heavy rack. 6 vowels. But there is a useful Scrabble word, which is EUOI, which does play at the triple word square at H1. And that would leave me with a rack leave of AOP, which isn't too bad. But I can't see anywhere else for it to play. I've got whoopee down from the W of dowel, WOOPIE, but I'm not 100% certain of whoopee. And I'm keeping the U, which I would like to see the back of. Okay, my opponent has blocked EUOI, but he has provided an opportunity or a place where I can play it. Let me put that down to show you. It scores 20 points, which is not bad from a rack with 6 vowels, but it clearly opens up the bottom row 2 triple word squares, which my opponent could score highly off. But then if he doesn't take it immediately, it's available to me. And it keeps the board open, which, while the scores are close, I'm quite glad about, because it's not nice to have a bingo and have nowhere to play it. And the more open the board is, the more floaters that are available for 8-letter bingos. Okay, 6 vowels does call for drastic action, so I think playing 4 of them off here, even though it's quite an open move, is probably the best I can do. Well, this isn't nice. It's fairly balanced in terms of vowels and consonants, but the tiles just don't go well together. C, D, G and P are quite clunky and lack synergy. I'm fairly certain my opponent will use the bottom row. I have got cog at H1 for 21 points, but that retains the double A, and it would be nice to use one of those A's. A single A is fine to keep. My opponent gets 39 points for Zitty. Well, I've got pagoda, which is nice, and there is a spot to play it. Let's put it down and then see if there's anything better. ONO is quite a useful word. So pagoda scores 30 points, which is great. The leave of C is fine. C's a nice letter. And that would take my score to 91 points, so I'd be 30 points behind, so I'm still in touch. Yes, I can't see anything. Well, there is actually another spot for pagoda. Let's see how much this scores. It was 30 points before, and this is also 30 points. This blocks the board up more. Because playing pagoda above xenon created the word PE, which takes an A in front. So that opened up the top left of the board. But I'm behind, so I think I will play to keep the board open. Right, I can't see a better play. And I draw 2 G's, which isn't good. I do have an I, which helps the G because it contributes to an ing ending. And I have the AGE ending available, but the other tiles, CGIT, are not good in terms of finding an 8-letter word ending AGE, so I'm not seriously looking for a bingo with this rack. I've got CAG at H1 for 21 points. What else is available? Well, there's Geiger on row E, making 8. Well, there's GAG, isn't there, above PE and AN. I could play GAG and the rack leave of CEIT would be quite nice. Downside of that move is that it only scores 14 points. There are 52 tiles in the bag, so we're about halfway through and I've got 12 minutes on the clock. My opponent plays the first bingo of the game, so he's now established a substantial lead of 98 points, and he's also used the first blank. I'm wondering if I can make use of the triple word square at 08. I quite like GAG at H1, which is a different location to where I was considering it before, above pagoda. I'm keeping an eye on my rack, so if I drew an N, I would have ing words in the first column, and the rack lever CEIT is excellent. And if my opponent uses the triple word square at 08, he will be creating 3 additional floaters. I think I'll go for this. Well, this isn't good. W is not a bingo friendly tile. And this rack doesn't look close to a bingo. I do have a weight, which plays. Down here. The rack leave is not good, but the score is going to be good. 36 points is a good score. And I'm creating 2 floaters for 8-letter bingos. But is there anything better? It would be nice to use the C and the W in this spot, just because of the score benefit. But I don't think that's going to be possible. No, I think a weight is the best move that I can see. Wow, quite a few vowel-heavy racks in this game. I have 5 vowels. Now there are a number of 8-letter words which have 5 vowels. But I don't think there are any available with this particular rack. I'm really looking to play off 3 vowels and perhaps 1 consonant. But sometimes that's easier said than done. I note that jut takes an E on the end to make jute. So I could play E-A-L-E for 19 points, leaving A-C-O. That's not too bad. Okay, my opponent takes out that spot. Right, I could do with opening the board up, because I'm a long way behind. But I need to open it up without giving my opponent easy opportunities to score. Gosh, this is quite tricky. I'm looking at words on row E, making ape. But if I try and stretch it to the double word square at E5, I'm restricting the opportunities for parallel plays, particularly bingos, in row D. But a simple play like A-E only scores 10 points, which is bad. It's good in that the APE takes hooks in front of it. The rack leave of 3 vowels and 2 consonants could easily backfire if I draw more vowels. Maybe there's somewhere better to play the A and the E. It would be nice to play a 3rd vowel as well. Well, this doesn't look too bad. Allo here, that scores more, 12 points, still not great. But it stops my opponent playing down from A8, a 5-letter bingo, hooking onto AE. It still gives me the D row for overlap bingos. Yeah, and the rack leave of ACE is definitely preferable to ACELO. Right, finally a decent rack. But do I have a bingo? I've got the floating T from await. haven't ruled out there being a bingo through that T, but I can't see it. I've got the G from gag. I can't see a bingo with that, and I've got bingos beginning with the L of dowel. I can't see one there. I don't think I've got a 7-letter bingo. If I have and I've missed it, it'll be annoying. Great, my opponent only scores 13 points, so he's not racing ahead. But I'm 90 points behind, and I've only got just over 7 minutes on the clock. So, is there anything through the T? I just can't see it. I do have an OID ending. Okay, I can't see it, but it will certainly be annoying if I've missed one, because this will be a high probability bingo. So I now need to decide what to play off. And this is such a good rack that I'm loath to play off many tiles. But if I only play off a couple of tiles, I'm unlikely to score well. I'm looking at coral. The rack leave isn't good in the sense that there's a vowel, there's 2 vowels and only 1 consonant. It would certainly be nice to keep the R with that. D-E-I-R is a nice leave, but it scores 24 points, and if I try and just play off O-C-A, I am probably foregoing quite a lot of points. Although I could play it above done to make on for 12 points, but then I'd be sacrificing 12 points. I don't think I can justify doing that. Okay, this doesn't feel like the best play at all, but I'm going to play it because I can't see a better one. Yuck, this is horrible. I have scoring tiles, but this is a sort of rack you want to have when you're 50 to 100 points in the lead. But I don't want to score 30 and 40 points. I really need the 50-point bonus from playing all my tiles. My opponent plays a second bingo, so he now takes a substantial lead. What can I do to score? There's still a blank out there. There are still bingo lanes open. I've only got 4 minutes left on the clock. There's 15 tiles in the bag, plus 7 on my opponent's rack. I'm looking at the tile, or the double word square underneath the E of creature, if I can play a 4-letter word starting there, beginning with F or H. And I can put one of the high-scoring tiles on the double letter square at L15. I would score quite well, but is there something available? I'd like to play off 2 of F, H, Y and P. This isn't ideal because it retains the F, which is definitely not bingo friendly. And it doesn't reach the double letter square, but it does score 30 points. And I can't see anything better. And I draw the second Y plus a K, so I'm getting a lot of the high scoring tiles, but that isn't going to help me win the game. There's only 12 tiles left in the bag. There is a hotspot in row N beginning above the I of Zitty and ending in the triple letter square at N6. But I can't see any plays which go there. There aren't a great deal of there isn't a great number of openings on the board for my high scoring tiles. I could play K, Y, E above tertians. That would score over 30 points. The rack leave of D, I, F, S is not great. And I could play F, Y to the left of UI. Okay, my opponent has played nab for only 14 points, which is good. So I've got FY down here for 35 points. Actually, the rack leave for this is pretty good, DEIKS. I think this is better than the KYE move. Although there are 3 E's still out. Okay, I like this because the C is a floater on the top row, the C of coral, and that goes well with the K. So I think that tips the balance in playing Phi instead of Chi. Right, this looks close to a bingo, but I can't see one. There's all 3 floaters in coral, but with 4 vowels, really there's just 2 floaters, the C and the R. And there's the G of gag. So those are the bingo opportunities available on this board, but I can't see any bingos with this rack. There are 7 tiles left. I am nearly 100 points adrift. So I'm not expecting to win this game. And certainly not now. My opponent plays Civilized for 89 points to go nearly 200 points in the lead. And there are no tiles in the bag, and I can see his rack at the bottom of the screen. He's got EFMMORT. He can't go out in 1, so I need to look to go out in 2. Try and score well with my K. Okay, well this is AK spot. Scores 26 points. I'm fairly sure I can go out next go. But is there anything better I can do with my K? Well, there may be, but I'm a little short on time and I can't see it, and I'm chasing lost calls anyway, in the sense that the outcome of the game in terms of winning or losing is not going to turn on what I do now, so I will play K. I've got slide through the L of dowel. I've got siled making pagoda in about the same spot, and I've got cider, S-I-D-E-R, through the R of coral, so I can go out. Siled is the highest scoring option that I can see at the moment. And given that I can go out, I simply am looking for the highest scoring move, which I can go out with. There are no other considerations I need to take into account. Siled would score about 17 points, I think. Okay, let's put this down. And now let's immediately change it to here, because I think this scores fractionally more. 20 points, yes it does. Is there anything better? No time to find it. Just wait for my opponent to end the game, which he does so. I've scored all of 300 points, which is pretty dismal. It's always slightly disappointing when you don't get to play any bingos at all, because it's fun playing bingos. There's a nice feeling when you spot it and when you play it. You get a double kick. But in this instance, this game, I didn't have any bingos, but that's just the way it goes. Anyway, there were some interesting spots in that game, so I hope you enjoyed watching it. My name is David Webb, and this has been a video for Dweebovision.